live. Hello, Robert Habibi. All right,
All
connected
right, got you now.
audio. Got you. And this is the fourth time you've joined me on the mental breakdown. It's the 28th episode. It's good to have you back. It'd be nice to do this maybe every week. Was it Thursday last week?
Could be.
Thursday.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
Could have
maybe
been.
Thursday could be a good day. Who knows? There might be some listeners that would like a steady upload, and then I do other ones in between. But who knows? I'm not guaranteeing that. We're not promising that, but it's good to have you back 2 weeks in a row. Today, last time I remember there was a loose conversation. Now, for people that don't know, we have had long, deep discussions. So you know a lot about me. So I'm pretty comfortable with just saying, come with a topic. I almost, it's better that way. Really, I think it's better to just do it live. And that's really what I want to do in the long run. I would love to do a live question answers format or something. So I like to think on my feet, so I'm ready. This is nothing. This is unrehearsed, unstaged. You're gonna throw questions at me, and then I'm gonna talk about something completely different.
I'll try to keep you on topic, although it's not easy, CD.
All right.
You are all over creation.
Yeah, that's yeah, I like it's just that.
If you could, you go into a parallel universe as well, but thank God you can't do that yet.
Yes. Or I might, but I might leave something
You
else.
might leave, yeah. You double my stay,
or
yeah.
something. I might create a parallel. I mean, that's how parallel universes work, kind of, right? Like you create them, but one of you went that way, and you can only experience the one that is in this one, but that one thought that it's in its universe. So that you
Something like that.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you will never realize, you will never have the sensation of like jumping to a parallel universe, because at that instant, boom, you're cloned, and then there's another universe that slightly drifts off from where you were. But that one thinks that it was the one that was consistent. It's not like, I don't think there's, I mean, I don't, yeah, that's, I'm not.
So which one would you be?
Exactly. No, that's the thing. I mean, we feel like the other one would think that I'm the one that drifted off, and
Hold
I
on, you
feel,
say
I
wow,
feel,
that...
I feel, I mean, I feel like I'm the real me. I was born and everything has been consistent, but really at every crossroads, which is an infinite number of possibilities where my life could have gone a different direction, it is also, there is a me that did make that choice and is continuing on. And yeah, I think everyone would have the same sensation of being like, I'm the one that stayed on track. All you guys were the like possible, everyone else. Yeah, that's I guess that's the difference in possible universes. Or is that, maybe I'm mixing up the two terms, possible universe and parallel universe, but I kind of think of them as the same thing, as a possible universe being as all the possible me's had things happen differently. And is that how you understand it, or is parallel universe something completely different?
I'm to be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what it entails, but based on the movies I've seen and a little bit I've heard, yeah, basically, I'm not sure if you fork off, or I'm not sure when that happens. If it happens every instant, and then we've got,
I mean,
hundreds of thousands, if not millions of.
billion, I mean, it's infinite, right? I mean, every little,
Yeah.
I mean, you could break it down to the smallest increment, and then every person break it down to the smallest increment, and then so that's multiplied by, I mean, it's unfathomable. Or
It is unfathomable. Yeah, it's that could be quite the possibility. But the question is, that who are you?
okay. Is that what that's not the question today, is it?
No, that's not the question. But that's the question that a friend of mine, Moshe, actually
Yeah. Oh, it's
had. He's got some friends living in the south of Thailand, in Khanum. Have you heard of Khanum?
new. How far south? Like,
It's in Nakhon Si Thammarat.
okay.
It's about 60, 70 kilometers from Koh Samui. If you go into Koh Samui, it's you know Surutani. Surutani to
Yeah.
Nakhon is maybe about 90 some kilometers, but it's on the Gulf of Thailand. It's basically a sleepy village, but it's got like apparently 300 to 500 expats living there. And this couple,
Wait,
they're
what's it called again?
Kanum,
Oh, Kanome. Oh, that the
Kanum.
pink dolphins. Yeah, they have pink dolphins. I've been there.
Yeah. That's it. That's
And
the
I
one.
saw the pink dolphins. That was amazing. Yeah. I thought pink dolphins were only in the Amazon or something like river, but these ones are saltwater ocean dolphins. Yeah. I've seen them.
Yeah.
They're pink and they have like gray spots on them.
Yeah. So this Swiss, I think they're Swiss. This Swiss couple, apparently they're very wealthy. They live in this McMansion down there, and they just came up to visit Pattaya and then went to see my friend. And they're into all this esoteric spiritual things. They even do magic mushrooms, and they've done ayahuasca. They're in their 60s. And so he was telling my friend Moshe that he has moved there to basically dissolve himself of his identity, because he is a product of his upbringing, of his education, his indoctrination, his family, or whatever. And so he wants to, in effect, find out who he really is. So, who is he? And so he was asked the question, who are you?
Oh yeah. No, I mean that's it's a deep question. It's not what we're gonna talk about today, though, are we?
No. In fact,
no.
Let me do this. Can I turn off the video?
Yes.
I'm just much more comfortable chatting.
Absolutely.
Stop the video. Okay, good. All right. I can still see your handsome face with that amazing mustache growing now.
It is pretty. Yes. I do shave it here just for food. I don't like it getting in my food, so I shave a little bit on my upper lip. But growing out.
The rest of it is you look like Garibaldi, which was, you know who Garibaldi was?
That's no, I know that
Italian name. He was the guy who unified Italy. He's given credit for having unified Italy in the 1860s, something like that.
I'm a quarter Italian.
There you go. Well, then maybe you're a descendant of Garibaldi, for all we know.
Easily.
Well, actually,
around. Yeah, I mean, if he's a.
Well, let me ask you this question, and then we'll get to the topic, perhaps. How was your week this week? What did you end up doing?
My week was pretty good. Let's see about that. New month. Kind of planning this month. The rainy season is kind of coming to an end. There's a lot of it's more planning. September is really rainy, so a lot. We did a little. I planted all the trees that this is actually the perfect year for tree planting, because what I usually do is I buy too many trees just a little too early, because when it starts raining, you'll get a couple rains and then you'll get like 2 weeks straight of no rain where it's really hot. Of course, this is different than southern Thailand. You might, and it'll be like dry and hot. And if you planted any trees, man, they have a really difficult time making it, because their roots are weak, their leaves are weak, they're in shock, and a lot of trees die. This year, I don't have enough room to plant trees. So I was planning not to buy trees, but then I just couldn't help myself because I'm addicted to it. So I ended up buying like 20 different trees. And then I'm just going to I'll plant them. I'll put them in spots. And there's room to plant them now, but it's just like in the future it's going to be too crowded. But I'm just going to let whoever survives. If I have to chop some down to, they have a way of moving, and I can handle, some trees are not going to make it, but I might as well plant as many as possible. So, I waited much longer, which actually played off, because my plan was to not buy trees. So I did it at the perfect time. I did it like it had already had some heavy rains, and then I just got this urge. I'm going to buy some more trees. So I've got some that aren't. There's this apple that actually can grow well, because from what I understand, even in America, it was like apples. I remember Washington State apples were good. Oregon, California apples, they just weren't very delicious. They tend to need all of the apples, plums, peaches, all kind of need like freezing temperature, at least at some point. I feel like it needs to really drop. But there were a couple apple strands that have been growing in Thailand for a long time. So I'm playing around with them. I've got some apples and peaches and blackberries and stuff, some things that aren't we don't know. We'll see if they grow. I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do it and we'll see what happens. And
But
so
you've got a lot of experience now.
well, yeah, and now, like I said, if I do it at the wrong time, like now is when they're fragile. If I can get them through, and I should be able to get their roots through the, you know, this is the cool season, but the ground stays damp. There's a lot of growth. We'll probably get a few more rains, and it's not too hot, so they'll kind of get to grow. And then I planted them in places that they should. I'm trying to plan it out. So right now they have a lot of sunlight, but you know, 4 or 5 months from now, during the hottest, heatest, driest time, they'll have a little more shade maybe. So yeah, I mean, I play it off every year a little differently. It's, you know, I read a lot. I watch videos on permaculture and all these types of things. But when it comes down to it, you got to know your land. I've got this intimate connection with my land. I mean, there's different content of soil, clay. I mean, and how close to like bamboo. I've a lot of bamboo on my land, and those bamboo roots some things grow well by the bamboo because they don't like a lot of water, and I can flood my land out easily. So if I put them in a place, some places like certain trees I've noticed, like citrus they like it wet, but they don't like it to be soggy all the time. So close to bananas and bamboo, they tend to grow well because it's like I'm able to flood it out, but it doesn't sit there. So a lot of it is just this some of what I've learned. A lot of it is just kind of like I get this feeling, and then there's just like this intuition of where things will go. And I think I'm improving there, though I've already seen one tree looking pretty bad.
After how long?
It's only been a couple of weeks, but that's when, I mean, no, less because you said this week. If I wasn't talking about it last week, then yeah, it was this. I think I finished planting them all Monday or something. Yeah.
So do you give them any kind of fertilizer?
Yeah. No, I've got lots of different kinds. I've got, I have one that every time, like, just like peer stuff, I put in this big pot, this big plastic thing with a lid, and the worms, they're not worms, they're like grubs, and they just come on their own. I don't know how they get there. They're really expensive if you wanted to buy them. Like I don't really want to go into that field, but I know that there's people that buy them when they've seen them. They're like, what? Oh, those are expensive. Like I could ship them around. I don't know where they come from. They're like larvae, but they don't turn into the insect. I guess they could in theory or something. They get in there and then they eat it all up, and then they end up dying, maybe, or if I dump them out, they're still alive. I'll kind of cover them up. I don't know if they continue to live, but they're like a larva, but they never turn into the insect that they could turn into. I don't really understand it that much, but they break it down. And it's mainly coffee filter. Every time I we have coffee in the morning, I make my own coffee grounds and stuff, and then if I juice, I've got all those vegetable and all the vegetable scraps and skins and peels. So only like those things go into the
compost. You're
talking That's about compost. Yes, compost. I'm talking about compost. Yes, and then we get some like some cow poop bags, chicken poop, bat poop. That's more for a garden. That one's a little more expensive. It's a little better. So poop, and then Chaya, he's still pooping in his diaper, and if it's, I'll throw that in there too. Sometimes dig a little hole, put it in there, just in the ground. But yeah, no chemicals or nothing. No, I mean not even close. Yeah, that's
no nitrogen. No,
hell no. Not nothing. I'm not. Yeah, that's like
that's a big no. No spraying either.
Big no spraying. No spraying fertilizer. No pesticides. Pests are a problem. Mostly snails. Our snails are because they eat the sprouts. They just roll, their slime just rolls over the sprouts, and they'll just eat them. So but we've got some elevated areas where we're starting some vegetables, and then we're going to plant them into the ground, or we just do a big plant and then all at once, and then whatever we put like rice holes on top of it to kind of cover it. So but this is our first year to really doing vegetables. Really, I've been focusing on the fruit tree. So
very different, isn't it, from growing trees?
It's much more difficult, takes much more time, and then that's all you get, right? It's kind of hard to. There are a couple like there's a lot of tree leaves that you can eat, like bushes and stuff in Thailand that we eat that are kind of cool. So I've got a lot of those growing where they're vegetable like, kind of like kale, something you can boil or steam or bake or fry. Leaves, dark leafy greens, high in calcium, high in fiber. Like that's like a staple of my diet. I always need dark green leaves. And so some of those I am able to grow on trees, and those are nice. Like there's bushes, like bushy things. I don't know the names of them in English. I don't know if they have English names. They might have just the Latin name. But so yeah, and that's more Ice's field. Ice is going to be more our gardener. She's kind of taken over that, and that's why we haven't really done it. Because Gabaga wasn't letting her do it so much, or it's just making it difficult because he'd need attention. But now he's actually doing it. He's actually involved in it, and we just, he does amazing things. Yeah, so he plants. He can do real things. Throw, poke holes, throw seeds in, trim bushes and stuff. Okay. Even if he's not doing an extreme amount of work, he's doing something, and Ice is able to work as he's playing and having fun, playing in the dirt. But he does stuff. He mixes dirts together, different kinds of dirts and like.
So he's 3. When did we?
Yeah, he's getting close. He'll be 4 in January. So he's 3 and 8 months. 3 and 9. He'll be 3 and 9 months. This 3 and.
Okay. What about herbs? Are you growing any herbs? Because I think herbs are, first of all, much easier to grow. They're basically wild. They're
we have a lot. We have like galanga, which is like kind of the Thai ginger and tom yum. It's like kind of pink, more pink. And then there's we have basil. Like there's like 4 different kinds of basil. I call them all basil, but in Thai they're significantly different. Like menglak, horapa, kapao. There's like 4 different ones. To me, it's like they're basil, but I can't tell the difference. I mean, there's one that's purple. I call it purple basil, green basil, but they're all different. So we have all those, and then lemongrass is growing all over. So we got lemongrass and galanga, the Thai ginger and regular ginger. We have some ginseng, and then like I said, there's a lot of these. Like pea eggplants and stuff. Some of those, like I try to eat 3 of those a day. They're like regulate your blood sugar. There's a lot. Yeah. We counted over 100 different, like most of them are just wild growing, or if you count our land and along the river. I can't name all of them all the time in Thai, and I definitely can't in English, but I know most of their Thai names, or a small portion actually, maybe, that but I can identify them. I know what they do and how we eat them. Some of them you boil, some of them you have to boil multiple times because they actually have high like toxicity, but they're also healthy and stuff.
That's true.
Certain ways
those herbs. Yeah. Actually, all the plants have some toxicity.
Baby bamboo shoots and stuff. Yeah, the bamboo shoots you have to boil twice. There's like cyanide in them. And then, what was really interesting though is I ate my first. This actually might have been 2 weeks ago, but I don't know if I mentioned it to you. Is I ate my first green banana boiled, like a green banana, like when it's like the skin has barely even young green banana, not like almost gonna turn yellow. Like like a baby green banana where you can't peel it.
Is thin.
Yeah, it's just one thing. Yeah, and you boil it and you eat it. It actually is not very flavorful, but it's got a good texture, like a potato or something. And then we eat it with all. So I'm eating a lot of steamed vegetables. I do still fry some vegetables. And we have like but I don't trust the high heat of frying. I'll bake stuff with some olive oil. I'll use rice bran oil if I am gonna heat it. Anything like basically if I'm gonna fry it, I'll use rice bran oil. But even I don't really trust rice bran oil. I think it's better than seed oils, but I think it's kind of in the same category. It just doesn't. Just my feeling for. So supposedly it's got some plant sterols and some other long word that starts with O that has some beneficial health properties, but I don't really trust it. It's just I think it's heavily processed how much to get oil out of rice, it just seems like that. So it just seems like it's kind of untrustworthy. So I try to mostly bake things, but kind of like, it's almost like I'm frying it because it's like 200 degrees. Put some olive oil or coconut oil.
What do you mean big? You have an oven
Yeah,
or a
it's
fryer?
an electric oven that you plug in, but it's a pretty big size. I mean, I've got a ceramic pot that I put in, and I'll put I do that a lot. So, you know, I'll cut tofu and broccoli and then some asparagus or pumpkin and squash or something, like put it in different rows, lightly season. I don't do that much seasoning because Chaya eats it and Gabagao eats. So I don't use too much garlic or chili or salt even really. But you know, a little bit in there and then eat it. And I've got some other stuff on the side if I need it.
Can you grow any garlic or onions or potatoes
We're
or
growing, yeah,
carrots?
we're growing garlic and onions, but I haven't really. We eat them right now. Like we're kind of eating the chai, you know, like the top of the onion, the green stalk, and we've got it. We've planted it, but we tend to buy it just because of the convenience. That's, I mean, yeah, this is our first year really
First
doing
year.
the vegetables. I mean, eventually I want to grow all my vegetables, but we've pretty much been buying all our vegetables and
Is it a year-round season for vegetables of where you are, or is it
yeah,
seasonal?
but they'll change. The vegetables will change. Some things you can always grow. I mean, it's weird. Like limes, I haven't figured out their season, but and I don't think anybody. It's weird. They're all. It's like sometimes there's in abundance, but I tried it. Like it's different. It's not, and it's weird. You'll notice this too. Like I mean, limes will go up in price. Sometimes everyone's just looking for limes. Like it's crazy. And then you know the prices, and then I'll have limes when everybody's looking for it, and then sometimes I won't. So they're unpredictable. Limes are weird. But bananas, like bananas, they grow year round. I mean, that's not what you're talking about. Vegetables, tomatoes. I mean, they seem to grow. A lot of vegetables do tend to grow year round. But as I plant them, I'm gonna find out which ones are grow at the best time. Like definitely during the cold dry season and the hot dry season are probably gonna be less. Uh, yeah. I'll that'll probably take me a decade to figure out really.
So how much does the temperature actually drop in the coldest nights?
Coldest night, like 15 Celsius. That's, I don't know, that's 50 maybe in Fahrenheit.
Now the 10 degrees is 50.
Okay, so somewhere between there. It's probably close to 10, probably not quite 10, but somewhere in between 10 and 15, maybe. I was throwing out Fahrenheit. I'm actually I'm more familiar with Celsius now. I don't know, but in the coldest day of the coldest night of the coldest night, yeah, would be like 15, maybe. Could
15, 15,
somewhere
12,
close
maybe.
by. Yeah. Maybe. Um, and
I think
then
pretty much everything can survive, that temperature.
yeah, oh yeah. No, yeah, there's yeah, I don't think anything's no, yeah, they there's a certain period where I feel like they just kind of they're not growing, they're not because it's not
That's
raining
right.
during that
Yeah, and
season.
they're not
Although
growing, yeah.
I'll water the land, but it'll like stay moist for like days because it's so cool. So and then I don't really have to water it often. I'll just water different sections and I don't flood it out because it stays wet. Uh, so yeah, it's kind of just I during that season I'm just kind of walking around. I'm doing a lot of cutting because right now the yeah I'm cutting grass, I'm cutting trees, I'm cutting weeds. It's just out of control because of all the rain. I mean I can't even keep up with it. But once the rain stops, then the growth slows down a little bit, and then I'll start. I start getting in there, cutting some because we get some vines. There's some invasive vines that will, just cover these trees. And I got to just get, I can cut them or I can just, I try to get the roots out. But they're I think they're coming from like bird poop or something because some of them have little berries or something on them. But like so, and they'll come every year. But I
So it
try.
looks like most of the time you're actually spending getting rid of unwanted plants and trees and
Well, it
vines as
depends.
opposed to.
That's a huge part. Yeah. So as we move into, I mean, that's this season. Yeah, this season. Well, even I mean, yeah, no, I mean, that's always going on, I guess, because then even when this, I mean, right now it's growth, there's so much growth. So I was doing a lot of planting, and I was just, right now, I'm just kind of trying to like maintain the growth, but it's still out of control. And then next, yeah, during this cool, dry season, that's my walkway season. That's when I really just walk around the land, and I kind of figure out where my paths are. Like this, I've already got like third and fourth generation paths. That first I did this like mosaic brick. I bought these truckloads of broken brick, and I mosaiced all right. Originally I'd done like extra sand, and I did it, and I put the brick on top of that, and then I did like gravel on top of that, and then I did white rock on top of that last year. I'm gonna put the white rock is the final one. I'm gonna put another load of white rock on those. That's my main walkway from like where I park my car all the way to where we walk into our home. And then there's a lot of little back paths. Some of them are on their first generation. So like basically during the path season, I'll put another layer. The lower layers I'll use, a cheaper gravel. Those are like 800 baht. It's like 25 bucks or something or less now with the dollar so high. But for a big old truckload, 10-wheeler comes and I can just wheelbarrow those, and that'll go down first. And then I get the white river rock, which is about twice as expensive, still pretty reasonable, and like $40 or something for, $45 for a big old truckload of these white smooth river rocks. I've also found I want some bigger kind of boulder ones. So as I build my walkways, and then I'm also like, I'll tear down some things, dig up some roots, and maybe build a new pathway or cover. So I've got my main pathways, and I've got some ideas. This year, I'm going to start some new pathways because I'm planting so many trees. And this is where I call this coin, one of my coins that I've termed is nature negotiation, which refers to the, like my walkways. I'll I kill some plants. I know I come off as a peace loving wonder, but if I'll take those, some things are weeds, some things are vines, and I don't want them, but it's a negotiation with nature. It's like, okay, I'm going to take these out and build a walkway here. I tend to build the walkways where I feel like it's naturally less growth. You know what I mean? Right? When it's a big, heavy growth area, I'll still, if they're attacking a tree, I'll attack the tree. But like if it's in an area that I call it a designated snake area, that it's like, okay, I'm gonna just let that go wild for a while and then see what comes out of it. I'll throw seeds there and stuff and just see if something can sprout out of there. Because there's certain hot spots on my land. They're just, for whatever reason, whatever I put there is going to grow, but also all of these invasive and just weeds are going to grow there too. And if I'm not ready to do anything with that area, I just kind of let it grow. Like I said, throw seeds there. Maybe something will grow out of it that I want. If it's all nothing, eventually I'm going to, do something, take it down, put something there, or clear a spot and put something there. And then those areas kind of dictate where my paths will go. So I'm working with nature. I never try to be like, I want my path here, and there's all this growth here. I'm gonna fight it, I dig it, and I'll just be like, oh, okay, my path is gonna veer this way and then come back around.
What's interesting is when we look at nature, we see it as this peaceful, serene, beautiful creation that is living in harmony.
Oh yeah.
But in reality,
it'll eat you alive.
It's like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're struggling just like every other animal is struggling to survive. The vines will try to choke trees. The trees will try to cover the other trees with shade.
Yeah,
and the grasses.
Yeah,
it's a jungle out there. I mean,
there's
literally,
a
they're
lot of
killing each other.
Yeah, I mean they do work together too, but there's competition, and then there's also
there's symbiote.
I don't know, there's altruism, but there's definitely symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Underground too. I mean, all the stuff that's going underground. That's the one I feel the worst with. When I have to dig a hole and I get to a root, I stop. I do a little, just like, but if I'm like planting a tree in a certain area, I try to like carry it out. If it's not too big, I chop it. I figure it'll. They have so many roots. I don't know which root that is to. As long as it's far enough from like a tree that's young, I just cut that root. But that's that. I feel bad about cutting a root sometimes, and and I try not to. Usually I don't have to do that, or I'll kind of dig around it, but every once in a while I just, it's like I said, they're usually small roots, so I know it's a root of, that has branched out far from the tree, but it hurts a little.
I'm sure there are invasive species that are on your property that never, they're not indigenous to that area, but somehow they got transplanted there, and because they. Mm-hmm.
The chumcha tree, actually, which is the rain tree, it comes from like Caribbean. It's actually the tree that was in English. There's a couple different ones called like rain pod or monkey pod tree. It's the tree, either Swiss Family Robinson or Robinson Crusoe. One of those stories. It was that they built a tree house. I think both of those people built tree houses, right? In both those stories, I think so. Yeah. Who's in the Caribbean? I think it must have been Robinson Crusoe then.
Robinson Crusoe's Caribbean. Yeah.
So that tree was there. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, even the the papaya tree. I mean, those aren't invasive in a bad way, but they're invasive they're invasive in a good way. I haven't planted any. I always have papaya trees, and I don't plant them because they have so much fruit. I can't eat all the fruit. And birds come and eat them and poop them out. Wow. We always have papaya trees growing. So, and those were brought from like South America. So there are, and then the chaya tree is from the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. That one's crazy. That one's really nice. I'm building my walls with that because you can just break the stem and stick the stem in the ground, and it reroots and grows amazingly. You can also eat the leaves. Again, those are a higher toxicity level, but boil them, don't eat them every day. But yeah, there are. I mean, if you look into it, a lot of stuff was brought by Portuguese and Spaniards, maybe, or something. Portuguese mostly, I think, are responsible for a lot of the good and bad things.
And I'm sure they didn't bring him with the Chiang Mai. They probably just brought him into Ayutthaya, and from there it just spread.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I mean stuff. Yeah, things. There's a lot. Yeah, we have a lot. Yeah, there's some crazy grass, like reeds, like thick grass that's really tall that comes off the river. There's stickers. Yeah, if you want to talk about something, it's stickers. So I have a war on stickers. There's like the goat heads. I would call them goat heads from, I don't know, that's colloquially what we call them. I mean, they kind of look like they're thorny, small little burrs, and those guys hurt like when you step on because they're really sharp. Then there's stickers, several different kinds of stickers that stick to your clothing. Most of them are just annoying. Some of them are actually these beautiful white flowers, almost dandelion, like they're related to the dandelion in a sense because they close up, but instead of opening back up and turning into a beautiful dandelion that you can blow and all their seeds, it opens back up into these little balls of little pieces, that will stick into your clothes. And those evolutionarily looking at stickers and birds, they aren't depending on wind, so they wanted animals, people. It would be much better. It would be much better to open up and blow out. But this one, it looks just like it does the same thing a dandelion does. It's a beautiful yellow flower, closes up, and then it looks like it when it closes up, turns like cotton looking, and then it opens up and it's real light. We have some things that do that too, but then there's these other ones that are just, they open up and they just stay there. They just sit there as stickers. The only way they're going to get moved around, and Gati, our dog, gets covered in them. I mean, absolutely covered.
Interesting. That's an interesting way of nature spreading its seeds. Wow.
And luckily, they need sunlight. They need water and sunlight. And our land, that's a big thing looking in the future. We only have a couple areas that are probably going to receive enough sunlight to grow vegetables, but it's a big enough area that I think it'll be good. But as our trees grow, that's what. Basically,
you mean your canopy won't allow for the sunlight?
I mean, now it does, but I'm just saying in the future because so those rain trees, those chamcha, jambuli or something, there's different names. We call them chamcha up here, I think, but in southern Thailand maybe, or the central dialect, jambuli, and all I can say is it's the Robinson Crusoe tree. They're big, they're thick, they're huge, like umbrella. I mean, they grow out way wide. I've already got, and then like I said, they're kind of invasive. And we have one in the spirit garden. That's where they burn the bodies. I named that the spirit garden. I thought it was better than an open crematorium. And they spread their seeds. I actually planted some intentionally, and then I realized like, oh, they're coming all over. Those trees, I mean, I have like 10 of them total on our land, and in the future, those all will probably touch each other. They're that big, they're that wide. When they get, 30, 40 years from now, they're going to be they're going to be
Now, you're a city boy. You didn't actually grow up on a farm or anywhere near a
no,
farm.
not a farm, but I wouldn't say I'm a city boy. I mean, I grew up in I mean, Orville. I mean, from that's Northern California in the cuts kind of. I mean,
Were you around farms?
yeah, there were a lot of farmers. I had friends that had farms and stuff, but I never got my hands into it. No, I never was involved in farming. No, so no, yeah, no. I
So
wouldn't
this
consider
is
myself a city boy, but I mean, then my last 10 years is in America was Sacramento. So I mean, my from 18 to 30 or so, or what was that 12? It must have been 12 years there in Sacramento. Then uh that city. I mean, somewhat city, not like city, but then but even Sacramento's surrounded farmlands.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it, but I never worked on a farm. Never, 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 no, never.
Like, when we were young, my father would take us to my uncle's farm in the village, and not
In
that he would
Iran
put us
or
in Iran, yeah,
okay,
and not that he would put us to work. We just did it gladly. We would go out with him to help him farm, and for a young boy, it was just I loved it. Just being close to nature and watching what he was doing to grow food, wheat. He grew wheat, but grapes, lots of fruits, raisins. I mean, not raisins, grapes, yeah, and fruit trees. But I think the main staple was wheat. But also, he had to grow feed for his livestock. So there was a lot of
okay,
yeah, clover. I think he grew a lot of clover for the livestock. But anyway, so I got to experience that, and it really was a wonderful experience for me. So I'm just curious, how has this affected you living, basically growing things and living on a farm?
tremendously positive. I mean, like you said, with the nature, getting my hand in nature. I mean, that's all I really want to do. I don't have I'm never
That's
I'm
all
never
you want to do?
yeah, pretty much. I don't get to do it enough, basically. So there's always I want to get in there. It's just I usually do it once a day. I mean, because when I get in there, I get dirty and I go through it. Like, I mean, I go all out. Once I stop, it's kind of like I just want to keep going, but either the sun goes down, or if I tend to start late. I don't really wake up early. That would be the other way to go, is wake up early when it's cool and work. But I stay up late. I mean, I'm teaching later, doing a lot of this stuff. Gobble god, and I stay up late. We tend to sleep in. I wake up a little earlier, but morning is more of my routine. So I do my yoga and push-ups and meditation and Wim Hof breaths, and just kind of relax, and then I'm usually finished, and then they're waking up. I'll make some coffee and something. Gabaga eats. We eat one meal, in the afternoon, and then I'll usually do my work after the meal, and then but it's usually not enough time because it'll get dark. But it's good. I mean, I can't spend
What,
all
4 hours? How
hours.
many hours?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes 3-4 hours, sometimes only a couple hours, sometimes. I mean, I've
Every day, though. Every day?
well, I mean, not if we have errands, like, yeah, sometimes like if we go all the way to Chiang Mai or something. I mean, but no, I mean, I don't get like, yeah, some days I don't get to, and I mean, I want, yeah, I I just want it more. I'm addicted to it. I just want to get it. I just want to get in there and get my hands in. I mean, it usually takes me a while to get in to it. Like I don't have, I've got hundreds of projects in my mind that I can do. There's nothing specifically that I have to get done. It's just, I just walk around the land, and I just, something calls out to me, like different seasons. Like I mentioned, different seasons are different. I'm focused on different things, but as I walk through the land, I'm visualizing it, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 years from now what it's going to look like. And I'm just always doing little by little. I just kind of, I'm always just trying to envision things and see, you know, trying to make it. Yeah, I'm just
So when you say you're addicted to it, you mean like you're looking forward to it before you even do it?
Yeah. Sometimes I just don't have time. Like if I come home, sometimes we come home. Like sometimes we come home today, but actually today I was able to work I woke up early enough and finished all my morning routine, and they were still sleeping. So if they're still sleeping when I finish my morning routine, I get started. And when I get started, I'm not going to stop. And then so I knew they'd wake up and I'd be in the middle of it. I'd push it another couple hours, maybe. But if I can, usually if Gabba says something, or I'll end up coming back. But they never really interrupt me or try to get me to come in. But I can tell that sometimes. Yeah. So the question was, no. So sometimes, okay. So today I wanted to get some more done today, but luckily I did do some. And we got home, and I mean, it's getting dark a little earlier now. It doesn't change that much, but
well, it's quite a bit, like 40 minutes or maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's enough to be like, I mean, it's like 6 o'clock. I I just remember coming home at 6 and actually, I can still do something. Now I was like, it was just, I could tell it was getting dark. And like I said, it takes at least a half hour to get it into something. Like I'm not able to really do much for the first half hour of I'm just kind of like feeling it. And I was like, so I kind of thought, I got to wait till tomorrow. That I get that feeling like I can't do it. I mean, it's not like addicted where I'm not going to do it unless I can get, you know, I can get off on it, because I'm not going to just, you know, I'll pass on a little, like, I mean, I do got it. I need a block. I need a nice block of time. Some days just don't have it. And I just got to push it back.
You know, when I was in Big Sur in Esalen, I don't know if I told you about Big on Esalen, but it's that
I know Big Sur, but what is Esalen?
Esalen is a personal growth development center that was built in the 60s. It's a kind of hippie, now it's a yuppie place where people go to take yoga classes, art, dancing, all kinds of performing arts.
I love that Big Sur. That's definitely a spiritual place. Yeah.
Oh, and it's a very spiritual place. I think it's named after the American Indian Esalen tribe. There's an Esalen tribe there that was probably wiped out. But anyway, it's not far from San Francisco, and so a lot of people just come down there for a week or the weekend to take these courses. And I was there for 3 months, but I was so-called a work scholar, where I had to pay $1,000 a month, and I had to work 30 hours for the privilege of staying there, and I got to take some courses. But my work, the first month, I worked in the garden. They had their own vegetable garden, which they used for the food, and they were like maybe on any given day they could have had like maybe 300-400 guests there. So not too big, but not too small. So the garden was
okay. So there's guests coming that are just like for the day.
Paying guests, yeah.
Some come for the day.
Yeah, some come for the day. Some come for like 2 or 3 nights. Some come for a whole week.
Okay.
But it's very expensive. I mean, those people have to pay.
Yeah. How did you get set up? I mean, are they? You're on like a waiting list, or you get vetted to pay to stay and be part of it? I mean, I'm sure there.
Yeah, you got to apply. You got to apply, and then you come in, and you know, you can stay for a month, and if they like you, you could extend for another month, and if they like you, you can extend for another month. But people come from all over the world, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, but the point I wanted to make, though, is that the first month I worked in the garden, and that was hard work. Partly because I wasn't in as shape as I got into after that, but partly because there's a lot of bending and standing up, and you're cutting this, and we had to make the field, prepare the field, before we could plant anything. And then they had these nurseries where we also have to grow stuff before you move it into, you know, it has to be like whatever, 2, 3, 4 weeks before you could move it into the ground, the soil. So we did that, but we also had to harvest every day.
And why was that? Because that actually, why did you have to nurse it first? Is that because the snails? I mean, that's what I think I'm going to have to do. We're trying to plant seeds straight in the ground. They're sprouting, and the sprouts just get
Yeah. No, it's much better to do it in nursery. It's
Okay,
much
and
better.
we're
Much better.
definitely gonna have to do that. I got
Yeah. Go in. Yeah, you have to grow it in nursery and then wait like a couple 3 weeks.
I
I'm
didn't
not
realize
sure.
it's that long. Yeah, yeah, okay, that
Each
makes,
one is different. Each one is
yeah, yeah,
different.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's, we're gonna have to get
and
on.
then you have to move it. You have to within a nursery. You have to move it from different pots to bigger pots. So
Okay,
it's not like
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
grows in
yeah, yeah.
one pot.
By
But
nursery, was it a greenhouse? I mean, like a
yeah, got a greenhouse. Got a
kind
greenhouse.
of,
Indoors, glass. The sun can come through, but it was warm because it was cold there. It can get pretty cold there in the
yeah,
wintertime.
yeah, that, yeah,
Uh,
okay,
much colder than Chiang Mai where you are.
for sure, yeah.
Uh, but anyway, so working in the garden, and then the other 2 months I worked in the grounds, and in the grounds you have to basically maintain the grounds, the grass, the weeds, the trees, um, um, the walkways. They had a huge ground, the fences, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I found working in the grounds much more pleasurable,
Mhm.
which is what you do when you walk
That's,
around your
yeah,
field
I,
and you whack things and you
yeah,
and you
yeah.
root things,
I like that
as
more than
opposed
the
to the garden.
gardening.
Yeah.
Gardening stuff. Gardening. I don't. I mean, I think Ice likes it. But it is a lot of work. She's enjoying it. Well, she's enjoying just getting out. She loves being out. I mean, before Gabba Ga was born, we we were, yeah, I mean, early on it wasn't that much. I mean, she got pregnant soon after we bought the land, but I mean, yeah, she was involved in everything and she's doing so much. And then really it's just recently that she's kind of is able to kind of break away, and he's can do his own thing kind of, but stay by her and stuff. And so, but I mean, she seems to enjoy it. I think she just enjoys. I mean, I feel bad sometimes, going out and leaving her, but I can leave him. He's she's had, he's mama's boy, and I mean, obviously, just I'm not against that either. I mean, that it's hard for her because he's got attachment to her those early years. I mean, and I don't want to break that. I mean, that's natural. Um, but now she is able to get out, so she's enjoying the gardening. I don't know if that's necessarily what she wants to do. I try to do some of the stuff. I'd ask her what kind of things, but Gabba is funny too. He like sometimes he doesn't like me doing things. So like if I get involved, I'll do something wrong and he'll yell at me. So I kind of yeah. So they're taking care of the garden basically more so.
But don't get me
And
wrong. Some people love gardening.
yeah,
Some
yeah. So
people much
I hope
prefer it.
I know she knows that I don't really prefer that. I mean she likes getting nitty gritty in the I mean I got some early videos when she was here with an axe, just chopping trees, doing putting in bamboo for our fence posts and everything. But yeah, I think she does enjoy that. I mean, she goes online, gets all these different kinds of seeds from different local people, and then her friend. We got one friend that's got a child that he's 2, so he's younger, but they like to play together, and we go over there. They have a similar thing going on. They're a Thai couple with a Thai son. Yeah, that's and then they got a pool. They kind of got like a homestay. So they built an
Oh,
extra.
in your village?
It's not in our village. It's in San Patong, so it's maybe 25 minutes from us or something. And they want to do homeschooling too. That's how Ice met him, on the homeschooling network group that she's in, and they were asking questions. And she's the mother's a little older than Ice, but their son is a couple years younger than Chayar, a year and a half younger. So she reminded her of, I mean, when the questions she was posting, like she was really excited to do homeschooling. There wasn't in the homeschooling group. Most of the things that people are doing are for older ages. Some of them you have to be like 5 years old, so it's hard to get involved. You're excited, you want to do some activities, but your child's too young to really get involved in some of these activities, and you're just kind of talking. I remember Ice was doing that. She's just talking to all these groups, and we did get in on a couple of things. We were able to go camping and do some things with some groups, but generally that they're more focused for like 5 years old is kind of when
That would be a good topic for next time to talk about homeschooling, because I think that's pretty interesting. I think you already started with him, haven't you?
Yeah, we're doing it. We haven't we didn't do officially signing up with the Ministry of Education this year. There's a lot of paperwork. She's working on it. I mean, in Thailand, it's 7 years old is where you legally have to go to school. So technically we don't have to, but we don't want to wait till that last year to file because they can be sticklers. She's reading and finding out about stuff. So what would be nice is we can apply, we could fail, and like now when he's 4, 5, 6, you can fail and then correct whatever needed to be corrected. And so we definitely want to do it, even though it's not necessary to officially register. It is more. 5 seems real. 4, I think we can do it, but 5 to me, it's not too big. He's got his friend here, that they love to hang out and play with each other, and then yeah. So they have a similar thing going on. They bought a Lummi orchard too. They're a little behind us, maybe a couple years. So it's cool. Like we got a lot of common.
Where are they from? Are they from Chiang Mai? Or are they from Bangkok?
No, they're from. No, I forget. I think they're from the north, but a different province.
Well, they just decided to move over there and do a homestay. So they have like foreigners or mostly Thais?
Mostly foreigners, but Asian foreigners, Japanese, some Chinese, Korean, or something. They had coming up. He just set up a Facebook page and connected, and then that's So that was
That's how you found it. I see.
No, that's not how we found him. No. She found him from a group, homeschool network group.
Okay, and now okay. Well, good for them. Well, we could talk about that stuff next time. Just getting back to the farm.
Yeah.
So you think that you're got a green thumb now?
Yeah, actually, Gabaga's got a green thumb. He planted a couple of things that we did well. I mean, a green thumb, perhaps, but I've still got some, like I said, that some of the plants. Well, see, some of the trees I like planting. I only bought the trees that I was unable to sprout from a seed, which were the peach, plum, apple. Although no, I've got an apple. One of my apple seeds have sprouted, but I don't know if it's gonna last. But most of the trees I plant are from seed. So that's
you need nursery, man. You got to go with a nursery if you're gonna do seed. With anything, vegetables or plants, trees, whatever.
Well, the fruits I grow in pots. I mean, it's not a nursery, but I've got areas that I've got my seed growing station for trees, but the vegetables are. I mean, Ice is more important. That's what I said. I mean, Ice is in charge of the gardening. She's a little behind on the. I've been developing my. I mean, that'll be more hers. I'll do stuff that she needs me to do, but I think that's gonna be more her terrain.
Preparing the bed, the soil and everything. That actually is very critical part of it.
Oh yeah. That's she buys different things and mixes it. She's pretty good. I mean, she knows stuff. So she knows. I mean, she came from, different family members and stuff that were farming. I don't know direct. I mean, her parents they grew vegetables and stuff, and her grandma and uncles. And I mean, Thai area. I mean, like a village. I mean, she's familiar with different things.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I think most Thai people are. I mean, even in elementary school, like I remember the science, the biology textbook was just filled with agriculture. Like all my students in the class, they all knew, like they could identify leaves, and they actually understood more about that than I ever did, for sure. I was like, wow, this stuff is complex, but that's just like second nature. I don't. Obviously, there might be some Thai in Bangkok that have never, but it seems like every Thai person I've ever met has some basic knowledge on farming and gardening.
So it looks like you're focused on a lot of fruit trees. Is that right? As opposed to non-fruit trees?
Yeah, I also have a lot of non-fruit trees. I like biodiversity. I have the bamboo, although we do eat the bamboo shoots. That chamcha, those are growing strong on the edges because I have neighbors that spray. I don't want, if I do have fruit trees close to them, I want them skinned, that we don't eat the skin, the avocados and lychee and the rambutan. So those ones might be a little closer, but I try to actually have some tall trees. So those ones, I have a lot of non-fruit trees that are like rainforest trees. Every time I went to the mountains, or temples, the temples have so many beautiful trees, and depending on the time of year, their seeds are always falling down. There's so many gardens here. I'm always collecting seeds when I'm out, and I'll forget what they are, but most of them aren't.
Have become addicted.
They're not fruit trees, or they're fruiting trees. Obviously, they have seeds, but they're not fruits that we eat. And I put those in pots. Yeah, so I nurture all my seeds, and there are certain areas, if I have a whole bunch of seeds, then I'll just throw them in the ground. There's special ones. I have baobab tree. I just got that one. That's like from Africa, the one that's like really, it fills up with water. It gets really fat, and I've got those growing. I grew those from seeds. And those ones I plant more on the outer ring of my land. I don't want to waste too much of the inner land. And then those will get taller, bigger. Those are more like those are kind of along the border. But when we first moved here, I did plant some that weren't fruit trees. I mean, I like the variety. It attracts different birds. I love the birds are amazing here, man. I mean, in the morning, when I wake up in the morning to do my little routine, I mean, the birds I see, man, the birds I hear, it's beautiful, and they're
beautiful. Yeah, I remember even that one night I was there, it was beautiful in the morning. Yeah,
and because we got that overflow from the like a little from the river, it fills up with water. It never dries all the way out. There's always water in there, and there's fish. We get those white cranes. There's these. Someday I'm not big into like bird watching, identifying. I haven't really got into that yet, but that's probably something I'll do in my later years when I'm more like less involved on the land. I'll probably start naming the birds and see them, because I notice them now. There are certain ones I see different seasons. Some of them are here all the time. Some of them maybe are flying north in the summer or something, and some of them might continue flying south in the winter. But a lot of them are always here. The big red-tailed birds. Some that have like these two long tails. I mean, turquoise birds, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I figured the more, and a lot of these trees, like I said, they have nuts and berries on them. They're just not edible for people or stuff, but it attracts, a variety of birds. And then of course you get more birds and they'll poop out stuff. That's how we get. We've had some weird things pop up that I don't know where they came from, and we let them grow. That's what I'm saying about like like papaya trees for sure. And then there's some other interesting things that grow, some weird stuff that that's all I can imagine where they come from. So birds is good.
Do you have any kind of like a predators, or like any kind of, I don't know, probably no raccoons there, but
there's one that I just killed it. I had a video. I looked it up. It looked like a mongoose, but it was dead in my house. I don't know who brought it in. I'm assuming my cats brought it in. I don't think my cat could beat up a mongoose. And there could, in theory, be mongooses up here. But it has sharp teeth. I can send you the video. It's I looked it up. It looked like it was a civet, which is the civet.
Okay, yeah,
they had sharp teeth, kind of big tail. I only saw one of those. It's mainly just snakes here. I mean, we have the reticulated python and then some other snakes. Snakes are a big predator because we have a lot of amphibians. We have toads and frogs. There's tree frogs, bullfrogs and toads, and a lot of geckos, lizards. Ginga is chameleon, but it's a different chameleon than the curly tail, but they do change colors. So a lot of those, and the snakes are what eat those. And then there are predator birds. I see them, some big ones. I was scared when we had kittens. They could swoop down. I don't think they get my big cats. They're not like super hawks, but they're predatory birds, snakes. Not as far as mammals, not so much. I mean, there's mice. They get in the house sometimes. I think they are in my roof. But I mean, my cats eat some of them. They've caught a lot of them, but you can just feel that there's a mouse in the house sometimes, you can
hear it.
Yeah, and there's a rice bag that was ripped open, or like the bananas are like bites out and stuff. But I've got this rat catcher that it's just a box and it's just snaps shut, and I can, it's, you know, it doesn't, it's, they go in, and when they eat the food, then the door closes behind them, and I've always caught them. It doesn't hurt them. I take them, let them out. I let them out the same place I let the snakes out. So maybe the snakes. It's by the temple. Actually, that's where I asked my village chief where to do it. He said by the temple. So kind of by the river, by the temple. It's kind of in the jungle area, but it's so yeah, except for that one civet, which was weird. And I don't know if that's really a predator. They did have kind of sharp teeth, but I looked at they eat like berry. They actually eat coffee beans. Actually, they are. If you've ever had that weasel coffee, have you ever had weasel coffee?
Yep.
They're actually civets, I think is
Yep. Yes,
and I do have coffee plants, and they do have ripe red berries. I'll chew on them and stuff. So maybe they came here for those. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
So
yeah, the weasels. Yeah, that's what they. Yeah. It's the weasel coffee. That's where they get it from.
Because
So that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, we're in a nice block. I'm blocked. There are in my village. There's two rivers. The Maping, the main river, pretty close to me, and then May Wong comes down and connects into that river. Two rivers that stay. The May Wong comes from the mountains. It never dries up all the way, but it'll get kind of small. Maping always has a lot of water in it. That's a major river that goes to Chao Phraya, into Bangkok, and out into the Pacific Ocean, Gulf of Thailand. Those are two natural borders that my land is on, and then within my village, there are two major. I mean, when you pop out of my land, there's you know, pretty big, or pop out of not my village, but pop out of the bigger area, the district or whatever. There's some major highways that kind of close it in, and we're kind of far from the mountains. So I don't feel like whatever was in here, there's not a lot of, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's no wild animals coming down from the mountains. Whatever's here, I've probably already saw. So I don't think there's no like coyote, and there's not like large predatory animals, coyote, or there are soy dogs and stuff that we did when we had chickens and turkeys. Some dogs ravished them, but I think those are actually like neighbor dogs. They bring their dogs to the orchard and they kind of let them run freely, which is understandable. But then they came over to because we let that was when we had all our turkeys and chickens, just let them run around freely. And so yeah, yeah, just the reticulated python though. I mean, that's our big predator. That thing, I'm scared of that thing eating my cats or something. And yeah, I've seen some videos of an angry one, man, that they can bite, they can rip your flesh off. I had no idea when I was catching that. It's gonna make it a little scarier.
That was huge.
Yeah. I was able to get that. Of course, the first one I caught had just eaten two chickens, so that guy was slow. But the other one I caught was faster. Luckily, though, I had a shirt with me. I threw it over his eyes first, and then I jumped on his neck and grabbed it, because I didn't. Yeah, of course they're not poisonous, and I think with my jujitsu I could slither out of there before it could wrap me up and like strangle me. They don't try to kill you, but you could get strangled by one if it wrapped around your neck. But I think you'd have to kind of like almost let it. I mean, they don't move that quickly that they could. But anyway, yeah.
What about wrap around your arm and squeeze it and
I mean they could, yeah, no, absolutely. But I don't think they're quickly enough. I mean, that's where through wrestling and jiu-jitsu and stuff, I could slip out. I mean, that's what I'd done for a long time. I'm hoping. I mean, I also think I could choke out a dog, and I've.
But they usually have these sticks and metal stuff that they use specifically for catching snakes. But
I have one for poisonous snakes. No, for the reticulated python, I like grabbing it with my bare hands.
Okay. All right.
I'm confident that if it started, I mean, they wouldn't try to kill me because it can't eat me. That's the snakes don't try to kill someone. They could, in theory, wrap around. I mean, but they do. I'm not worried that they would. I never really heard of that happening. I actually have heard of that happening. Somebody they had a pet one and they let it sleep with them and it wrapped around their neck. I mean, it could happen. In theory, it's physically strong enough to choke me. And if I were to let it kind of wrap around me, but I'm pretty confident that I could prevent it from wrapping around me. Like I said, because it's not trying to kill me. It would just kind of be wrapping. It would be wrapping on me because I know it can wrap around tight. Because the one that was in the tree, when I knocked it down with a bamboo pole, and then I grabbed it, and then I tried to pull it, and it started wrapping around the tree, just, and I couldn't. It was like we had to chop that branch off. Ice actually chopped that off. This is like Double Guy was like a year old and had him in. She had this in the middle of the night. She had him in her pouch, like the front pouch, with the machete, chopping the tree branch off, and I got the snake out. So I know, like, if it were to wrap around me like that, it wouldn't be trying to kill me. It would be wrapping out because it was trying to get away, or it would get confused and think that that's, that's the reason it would do that.
They don't have a predator. I mean, they must have something that will go after them.
Something that go after a reticulated python? I don't think so. I mean,
so they proliferate unless the baby ones get eaten up by birds or something.
Yeah, baby ones might get eaten up by birds. People catch them. I think some people eat them. Maybe, I don't know. And then no, they're always here. I've seen a couple this year that they're here. They're always here. Yeah. They don't like people, so they're mainly near the rivers. There's enough birds that sleep, and they eat those at night. And they don't like, most snakes don't really, they don't trust.
They're nocturnal. They're nocturnal anyway.
They're nocturnal, and they don't trust people. They don't want. And I'm always, that's another reason I like doing a lot of land. My well water, those are pretty noisy and vibrate the land. My chopping and stuff. I saw a lot more snakes when we first moved onto our land. They trust us less than we trust them. I mean, snakes kind of have a bad rap. People don't like them, but snakes generally, they don't want any trouble. They don't mess around with people. Like they see a person, they run. Like they don't want, except for the viper. The viper stands his ground a little bit, but he'll stand his ground. If you don't see him and step near him, he could bite you, but after you walk by, he'll end up finding a new home. Like they don't. Same with king cobras. We caught those. Never saw them again when we first moved on the land.
So it looks like this is kind of an experience that you cherish. I mean, it's I guess I'm just trying to figure out what it is that it's doing for you. I mean, is it something for you to do, or is it providing you with some kind of joy, excitement, pleasure, fun? What is it about it that, I mean, for me personally, I'm not sure I would really be into it, other than because it's good exercise. For me, it would be good exercise. Maybe it's, go tell me, what is it about it that draws you to this whole project?
It's there's a creative, I'm creating something, and that's huge. Again, it does go with my philosophy that we should prepare for death. I am creating where I want to die. Like I want, and I mean, death for me is going to be, I mean, it could be a long drawn out thing. I mean, I'm in good health. I feel like I'll have control to leave when I want, to some extent, but I also I see myself living long and going through stages where I'm less capable to create to the extent that I am, and I won't want to. I'll just want to sit there and be peaceful and meditate and drink tea and pick fruits off the trees. So I just want to wander around. So in my mind, I'm creating this place that would be where I want to die. So I'm visualizing myself at different stages. I kind of look in blocks of 20 years. I see what I'm doing right now is I'll do till I'm 60, where it's kind of harder, more intense, and then it'll be still work. I'll still be 60 to 80 will be the next block, and then that's more maintenance, kind of enjoying it. I'll be doing stuff, and then by 80 is like, and like I said, I like just having an idea that I live to 120. That's probably the maximum. I see myself living to 80. I could die from anything, of course. Part of my philosophy is that in order to embrace this philosophy, you also have to have no death anxiety, and you have to have complete acceptance that you may never reach this stance. I could easily die before 80, easily die before 60. I could easily die tomorrow. And I accept that. But assuming that I don't, I think we should all have an idea of where our life will be in different blocks. Okay, what if I do make, like, let's just assume I do make it to 60. Let's assume I do make it to 80. Let's assume I do make it to 100. Eventually, I'm going to be at that point when I, ideally, in my mind, have the full will of leaving this realm. And I am creating that too. And that's always at the back of my mind that I'm creating that. I have a couple places that I'm actually building like a mound on this one tree that I've tangled. I like tangling trees together when they're young and then they grow. And it's pretty cool. So I'm doing some cool things. I might, meditate there and leave this world under there. Maybe not. So I've got that I always have that. I'm always in line with how I want to die. I also have these, okay, right. It's actually 17 years. Like I said, 17 years is kind of, that's when I'm going to go through a big change in 2040 where I'm going to be more into the land. I'm not going to be teaching English online or doing therapy. Whatever I do is on the land. It's live in there, and I'll have whatever I need to have set up. So I'm everything now. I'm setting up. Okay, it's far enough in advance. I have enough time that I can prepare everything I need to be kind of self-sustainable. And so it's a project. I mean, I love. So to answer the question, creativity. I mean, I'm able to be creative. There's no rules exactly what I have to do, but at the same time, I have a very specific goal, and it's just to create the place I want to die at and live at every step of the way. So yeah, it is. I mean, even though I wasn't a farmer when I was a little kid, I always loved this. I think I mentioned this before. I dig up canals in my yard until I got kicked out, and then I do it in neighbors' yards, and then eventually their parents would get mad and kick us out. Where I just like build these canals, and I'd always like building on the land and trying to create like these landscapes, and so I do have to me it's my easel. Like I don't like. And we've talked about this before about like, although we did draw some pictures before we came here, like what we wanted, Ice and I in Phuket when we were like, but like, this is the easel, like this is the ball of clay. There is no, like, I don't want to model what I want to build and then try to make that model. You know what I mean? That would be like
an easel is what a painter uses to put all his paints on?
Yeah. So this is my easel. This is the project. Like this is it. Like this is what, like,
I want to throw something out. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I know that you're also involved in many other things intellectually, like with politics and with your teaching and with psychology. And so it's not just about going out there and doing the land. So it kind of reminds me of when Ronald Reagan, he loved to go to his ranch in California. I forgot where he lived. And he would spend hours, and I mean literally hours and hours, just mending fences. It was a way for him to just forget the world's worries and be in a beautiful, idyllic environment where he just mending fences. He's kind of in a way mindless stuff that was very relaxing, very fulfilling even for him.
It is definitely fulfilling, but I'm always thinking. I do listen to some podcasts. Just that's kind of, sometimes I have different playlists for music, different things. Sometimes nothing. Like in the morning, I like just going straight with the bird chirps. but sometimes even if I have my podcast on, I sometimes I'll go like 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, I have no idea what they're saying because I was thinking the whole time. And then so I'm usually thinking of things, but it is mindless. I mean, in some ways, but it's also I mean, yeah, no, I definitely transcend. I mean, I might not be able to. I don't really know that I'm thinking, but sometimes I'll come to these conclusions out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, I must have been thinking for the last couple hours or something. So yeah, no, it's definitely
That's interesting. That's interesting. You just said you were probably thinking of something, but then you forgot you were thinking about it,
you just
and
have
it just
to,
went
yeah,
into your subconscious, and your subconscious took it over.
yeah.
It's an interesting. It's relaxing, is it
It
not?
is. Oh yeah,
Because
it is. Even though it's physically, I do some things that are physically uh I mean, yeah, I'm done. I'll be sore the next day, or I'll be sore when I come back in, or something like. But yeah, you don't feel it when you're out there because it's just these
right,
things. I
you
mean,
don't feel it. No, you don't feel it. You're sore. Yeah, I mean, you're having fun, or you're just. It just doesn't feel it. Like sometimes I go exercise for 2 hours, and I don't feel anything, and then the next day I'm freaking sore, and I'm thinking, what happened?
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
feel a thing yesterday.
zone, right? Yeah, that's just the zone, I guess you could call that. Or I mean,
uh,
I mean,
yeah,
it's similar. Well, I did that training for fights and stuff, or I mean, yeah, I just go. I mean, it's hard to say. Yeah, it's autopilot, but it's where mindless and mindful go together. You're not. It's you're there. You're present. You're actually so present that
that's what it is. You're
it is.
present.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, that
very
is.
present.
Yeah, and it's hard to.
And when you're present, you're not thinking.
You're not thinking, but you are. I mean, you're there. It's like you're intuitive, or
You're
you're.
just taking in the senses, but
Yeah,
really, if
you're.
you're thinking, you're not there.
Yeah,
Because when
yeah.
we're
No, that
thinking,
there.
we're
That
either
is it. That's it. Yeah. So I guess. Yeah, it's not thinking, but you're. Yeah, you're there. I mean, you're able to figure out state. You're able to. You're functioning. You're fully functioning. You're like optimal functioning. No thinking, I guess. In a
yeah, yeah. Because
in
again,
that
I think as
state.
soon as you start thinking, you're just not there anymore.
Yeah. That's it. Nailed it. Bam.
Bam. Well, let's end on that note. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, especially if we're gonna do this every week. I mean, yeah, there's so many branches that could take. Was that the question, or is that what did this lead where I know you weren't coming
Oh,
with the too strict of a thing, did you just completely 100% wing it, or did you actually have this
no,
direction?
I pretty much winged it because if I have a topic, then I have an agenda,
Yeah.
and I don't want to come in with an agenda.
Good,
So
yeah.
it's just like, how was your day? How was your week? And just kind of see
Build off
where,
that, yeah.
and then just roll off that. So next time you could talk about his schooling or maybe about whatever, and then we'll go with that.
That sounds excellent. Wonderful. Nice. All right. Well, thank you. Fourth time, Robert Habibi.
An hour and 20 minutes, hopefully not too
Yeah,
long.
that's good. No, that'll be good.
All right, Mr. CD, a pleasure as always.
Bye bye.
Hasta luego.
Love you, brother. Bye bye.
Love you too, man.